Morning, it's the 9th of October and been about a month since I've been here, probably 3 weeks, and I've just left them to it and they really have just gone potty. There's paths in there somewhere and there's buds coming and it's the second flush coming through, untamed, undisbudded, and I just let the allotment holders help themselves to the flowers as they come. What I'm here to do is to try and take some cuttings. This variety has been a pain to me. I propagated from tubers, the darker strain of it that I had, and pretty much got 48 of the original Winholm dying out the 52. I've marked a plant that I know is dark and I've took flowers off of, and then what I'm going to do is take some autumn cuttings to try and overwinter it and try and secure the genes in that part of the plant and keep it growing over winter, and mother plants from that to produce my plants for next year of this darker variety. Hopefully that way I can secure it, and what I plant is what I get, but just got to get in there to find them. Here it is. I purposely sort of cut it back just as I left the plot last to try and get some new growth, and we've got quite a bit of new growth there. I've got a bin bag because obviously I haven't got the rooting facilities here. They're going to have to go back to the greenhouse, so I'll put them in there. I'm just going to take as much off this plant as I can. I'm intending to do leaf cuttings or leaf joint cuttings, so I should be taking that shoot and just take the whole shoot, bud and all, and try and root these joints because they're too thick to try and root in the traditional way. So we're going to go for leaf cuttings and see what we can get from this plant. That's the one I know it is because I've marked it with a couple of twist ties at the back, and we're just going to take the material. There we go. That's the plant cut down. I've just literally cut all the shoots from the top. I don't want to go digging down to the bottom because I might pick up a shoot that's come off the tuber, which I know won't be as reliable. So we've got a bag full of material. Take that back to the greenhouse, prepare a seed tray and take it apart and see if we can get some cuttings out of it. Right, so here we are. We're in the greenhouse now, sort of set up. I've got the Vitapod it's plugged in, checked it's working, and it is. Cleaned up and put on the bench. That's what we're going to root them in. Normally I'd use these Visiroot trays. They're a brochure Western product, and I normally, as you've seen me use before, use the 20 cell. But because these are big leaves and bigger plants, and I intend them to take a while to root and hang around a bit, I'm going to use the same Visiroot, but the 12 cell tray. First, before we can fill them, we need to make our rooting mix. I'm using the seed and cutting compost, 50-50 with perlite. You can get that from anywhere. I'm sure it all comes from the same place. There are 4 litres of perlite in there. There's 10 litres in this bag. So we're going to put about half a bag in. You could measure it, but I really aren't ever that accurate. It's about half the bag. And as you can see, it's just literally come out of the bag. It's a nice fine, no twigs, no bits and pieces, open peat-based compost. And we just got to mix that thoroughly with the perlite. It's much easier doing it if it just comes out of the bag a little bit on the drier side. It mixes better. If it's wet, it sticks together and you have a harder job mixing the perlite through it. I don't add anything else to this. There's no need to add any slow release fertiliser. If you see any little lumps forming, just rub them through with your hand. Just mix it up. And that's about 50-50 perlite and compost, and I find that a good open rooting mix for rooting at any time of the year really. The fact we're doing autumn cuttings shouldn't make any difference. So if we can get the trays out off the sellotape, like that. To fill the trays, I just place them there, move this one sellotape, and just scatter the compost over the tray. I don't firm it in, I don't push it in with my fingers. Overfill, tap, keep tapping it to settle it down. You see it goes in there. I don't really want to be doing much more than that. There's a slight pressure as I run my hand over to finish level. And the great thing about these Visi roots is that obviously you can see the compost, you can see that they're filled, and also when they do root you can see that they've rooted. So I'm just going to do that now. I reckon 3 or 4 of these trays should do it. Put them in a Vitapod, give them a drink just to settle that down and get the water in the tray. I tend not to water over the top of the cuttings once they've been taken. And now just watering. Should be enough. Let it settle through, and maybe one more time once that's drained through. So we've got a range of material here, and there's a big bag full of it over here, as you can see. I'll work through the lot and take as many as I can. It's not traditional, it's not the way we normally would do it. There's shoots like this, which I think I can probably take as a traditional normal cutting. Just cut below the node. And I'm not going to remove those leaves, I'm just going to reduce the surface area. And that for me would be quite a good, acceptable cutting. So we'll try that. Dip it in the hormone powder and just push it into the cell. And it's very slight firm because these are quite big cells around it. This one I've managed to break the leaf, but we're going to turn that into a leaf cutting. So we're just going to again cut below the node, and again just above the node. I don't mind leaving a little bit because it gives you something to handle. Now you could just put that in like that. I won't, because that's effectively a hollow stem. I don't want that big leaf there. And I'm just going to run the knife through halfway through the stem, which gives more surface area to root and a bit less to rot. And that will again fully coated and dipped in the powder, and then just pushed vertically and using that little nib that we had into the compost. And don't try and bury that, you just want to put it in. Same for these. We've got the top out. This one we've been a bit more careful with in the bin bag. Try and tidy that up. It's easier to go through when you've got a bit more to hold. So through the middle, and then tidy that up. So again we'll have the big leaf off. I might even take that. All we're trying to do is get roots. We just need these to root. They've got months here, probably 6 months, before we actually need to take a cutting from these, and all we're going to do is keep them ticking over winter to be mother plants, hopefully securing the genetics of the variety or the plant in which they've been taken from. It's about as close to cloning as you could get, and you'd use it for sports seedlings or something that's particularly precious. And after wasting a lot of plants this year planting what I thought was going to be dark Diane, that turned out to be Winholm Diane, I'm doing everything I can to secure that. The label's going to be good, and I'll go through the rest and they go back into the Vitapod. So that's the first tray done. There's 12 in there. We've got some tips, some leaf. Got the label. What's the next job? Put them in the propagator. Take the next tray out. Carry on. This takes a little while. I always have a pressure sprayer and just give them a little mist until we can get the lids on. But we'll see how many more we can get. There we go. There's one tray I haven't used there. I managed to fill 5 out of the compost, but there's 4 that are filled, so that's 48. I did sneak a couple of extras in, so it's 50 cuttings and a load of herbage left over that I could have got a bit more out of maybe, but 50 is enough. If I can get 10 of those to root at this time of the year, then I'm home and dry. I could turn that 10 cuttings into 200 quite easily. If I can get more to root, I'm home and dry, and even drier. But it's just taking a variable amount, different cuttings, as I said, tip, leaf, joints, all different. Give myself every opportunity for some of those to root. Once they've rooted, they'll be quite happy to tick over in the greenhouse over winter. When we get into January, February, I'll start mother planting those, and that'll be in part 2 really. This is part 1. Part 2 is what we do with these if and when they root. Thanks for watching. See you soon.